Hello, hello. Welcome to Diving Deep with Llesca, aka your host, aka Llesca Cristal, Yatusa. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're a regular listener, which I don't have a lot of regular listeners, so if you are, just know that I really appreciate you and you are a rock star. So in honor of my birthday, which is the 11th, I wanted to share an episode, pretty much going over things that I wish I knew when I was younger. Um, but first, if I could take the time for you guys to tell you guys to please rate my show wherever you listen to podcasts. Help a small podcaster. I have like 40 something or 50 episodes now. I always forget. But yes, feel free to scroll through those episodes. And yeah, I hope that at least one of them hits home. Um, yeah, so without further ado, or however you say that, we're going to get into the meat of the episode. This is going to be about, I'm going to tell you guys 5 things that I wish younger me knew, or I wish, I could tell younger me, which is pretty much the same thing, okay? I do have my handy dandy notebook because my brain may forget. Okay, so we're gonna start it off with number 1. Nobody is coming to save you. And while it may be common sense for a lot of people, this is more, at least for me in my circumstances, regarding the subconscious, right? If you know anything about the subconscious and conscious, so our conscious mind is like our day to day, like I'm I'm conscious of talking to you guys right now. The subconscious is essentially like all the programming that we've experienced, like from our caregivers, from society, um like even to driving, because like sometimes you'll be driving and you're like, oh my god, I don't even know like how I was driving the last 5 minutes. That's pretty much your subconscious taking over. Like it already knows. It's just going through the motions, right? It's not really, I guess maybe it is in the present moment, maybe it's not, I don't know. But without getting too into it, also I do have pregnancy brain, so I forget a lot of shit. And so if I mess up anything, just blame it on my pregnancy brain, because I can get shit wrong. I may remember incorrectly. So forgive me. But anyway, I don't know why I digress that way, but nobody's coming to save you. So talking about my subconscious beliefs, I always believe, now in retrospect, I can see that somebody was going to save me. And it's because I created this idea from childhood that, yeah, essentially was somebody was going to save me. And that somebody was my dad, a male figure. So this all happened when, well, my dad first left when I was 3 months old. And then he came back into my life around age 5. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's the age I was. And he was like a knight in shining armor. I remember opening the door to him, and then the light like was just shining down on him, and it just looked like there was like he was God sent, right? And I knew this was my dad, even though I hadn't seen him and like since I was a baby, right? But his aura, I'm like, I know this person, and who is this man? And he ended up telling me, I'm your dad. And so that really, like, that whole picture literally got ingrained into my brain. And after he came into our lives, I feel like there was a lot more positives, at least from my child's perspective. Before that, I mean, my stepdad had come into our lives, and I mean, you already know about that. It was not good since the get-go. But having my dad there, it felt like he was saving me from this torture, from this, whatever was going on. We also had a roommate that she was really fucking rude in the last apartments that we lived in. I don't know, she had it after me, and I was 8 and 9 for reference, guys. And for some reason, she hated my fucking guts. Like, she would smile to my face when my mom was around, but whenever my mom would leave on an errand or something, I'd get home from school and I just happened to be the only one at home or something, and it was that lady and she would give me the meanest looks and just be really fucking rude to me for no fucking reason. And I remember just just being like kind of shocked, like, why would this lady be like rude to me all the time? So anyway, so remember, just imagine all these like little problems as a child. And we were also very poor, so like my dad, um he had, you know, some good decent money, you know, he was rich in my eyes, and he would take us out to like McDonald's and Denny's, and we would actually go like to a mall, and do things, and like cool birthday parties. Like, it was like the rich lifestyle as a little girl, right? And so that kind of stuck with me as a little girl. And I was like, my dad saved me. My dad is like making my life better, you know? And so when we moved from California to Idaho, he had left to Mexico because some shit. And then, you know, social media wasn't a thing back in the day. So losing contact, moving a lot. So it just led to losing contact with my dad. And so when we moved, all the trauma, you know, I endured with my family and my stepdad and stuff like that, it continued. And I remember like always wishing my dad would come and save me. I remember looking out the window and just hoping he would, you know, I wasn't hoping to see him there, but like ever since I was a kid, I always found, what is it called, solace in looking at nature, whether it was the trees or whatever. And outside one of the houses we lived in, outside our bedroom, we had our window, and we had planted a bunch of corn, and there was these big corn stalks. And when it'd be like really windy or raining, and then the corn stalks would just sway back and forth, I would just like look longingly out the window. That was my nature that I had accessible to my, like, right there from home. And I would just think, and I'm like, I wonder where my dad is. I wish he was here, and I miss him. Like, why isn't he coming? I would always wonder that. And there was never any resentment from me. I never felt like he abandoned me, but it was just hoping, wishing that he would come save me. And then like going to my first real relationship, like my kid's dad, like he was like a knight in shining armor. He was so sweet. He wrote me love letters and love emails, and he bought me little gifts, and he would drive like 2-3 hours to come see me. And I'm like, wow, like this guy's really nice. And I wasn't even completely sure that I wanted to spend my life with him, but I'm like, you know, I'm 15 when we started dating, 16 when I moved in with him, I believe, or something like that, 16 ish. And so I fell in love with this persona of this male figure that was going to save me. And he would, you know, I would confide in him. I feel like it was the only person I could really confide in, like, what was going on at home. And I would tell him how my stepdad was and what he did, and I would complain about him, of course, like all teenagers complain about their parents or whatever, step parents. And so like he was still an asshole at age 15 and 16 and so on, whatever. But yeah, my baby dad would be like, oh yeah, I wish, you know, you didn't have to be around him. Like, I love you, I will protect you, and this and this and that. And all this just sounds really fucking beautiful when you had a lot of hardship and like you're missing something, especially like again with that ingrained in my brain. And yeah, just the lifestyle we're living, I'm like, you know what, that's why I ended up like going with him. He talked to his parents, he talked to my parents about moving in with him. And I, you know, I went with him. We had kids. He ended up doing a 360 and being a complete asshole to me. And anyway, so all this to say that throughout my life, this has been a pattern. Hoping somebody's going to come save me. And hoping that something will magically happen that where my situation gets better. But it's like, there came a time, and it's only been in recent years, and I'm just like, I can no longer subscribe to that. I no longer subscribe to that. I don't. Nobody's coming to save me. And when you've lived with this fantasy, which is a trauma, response or limiting belief, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you would call it. But when you've lived with this pretty much almost your entire life, this is like a big heartbreak in itself, because we don't want to believe that's true. We want to keep subscribing to that thought that it's gonna be all right. But at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save us. It's up to us to end our suffering. It is up to us to make a change, to change something, whether it's a job we don't like, whether it's a home situation, like a relationship where your needs are not being met, or somebody's really toxic. It's like we can't keep waiting around for somebody to help us, or for them to end up being like suddenly have a change of heart and be the person that we always needed or wanted, or to save us from our own personal, issues. So yeah, all this thinking really leads to more heartbreak and prolonged pain. The sooner we realize that, hey, I gotta do this for me, and hey, nobody's coming. I better, get to doing whatever it is that I need to do. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but the sooner you do that, the better it goes. And I can affirm that after many, many years, I'm 35 almost. It's literally 100%, 100%. I wish I would have come to the realization sooner. I wish I could just tell younger me, like, since before my first relationship, like, hey, this is not the way. It might look like your knight in shining armor, or this job might seem like the golden opportunity to blah blah blah, or this friend, or this social status, or this financial status. Like, this is gonna be it. This is what's gonna make me okay. Like, no, none of those external things are gonna make you okay. You're gonna make you okay. You're in charge of that, and it's a lot of responsibility, but you can do it, and it only goes up from there. I'm not saying not hard, but it will only go up from there. Better. Number 2, get comfortable with saying no. Okay, I've had the hardest time most of my life, again, saying no to people. I am also Libra. Welcome to Libra season. But people pleasing has been something I've really struggled with in the past, and still navigate sometimes. I am so much better at it now. But aside from being a Libra, I feel like humanity in general, if you have any kind of, whether it's mommy issue, daddy issues, something issues, the people pleasing comes out as a survival mechanism to please others, whatever. And so it can be really hard to say no. And so the sooner you practice saying no, the better you get, and the better your life is. We are so quick to blame, like, oh, well, they did this or this and this and that. I'm like, well, let's reel it in and start with the self. What could I have said? I could have said no, or hey, I'm bitter because now I have to help this person, or now I have to go do that, and I didn't want to do that, and la 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 la. And it's like, okay, you could have started by saying no, or saying at another time, or whatever, you know what I mean? Or even when it comes to like your sex life, I know it's a big thing in women. It's definitely more prevalent in women, in my experience, and from talking to other women. Just I don't know if it's shame or what, but why we feel like we have to say yes or give in to like a person that wants to have sex with us and we feel bad. I'm like, why do we feel bad if we are saying no? In the end, we are hurting ourselves more and we feel guilty, and all because we did not say no or we didn't feel sure in ourselves and we did not um prioritize our needs over somebody else's needs or wants, whatever it may be. In this case, for example, easy on the sex part, right? I definitely, like, I lost my virginity. Yes, we're going there. With somebody I didn't want to lose my virginity with. I wasn't ready, and he kept pressuring me and pressuring me, pressuring me, pressuring me, and I felt like ultimately I couldn't get away and I couldn't say no. And then, like, literally, that was like the start of my very, honestly, very fucked up um, young women, as a young woman, my sexual side, which I feel like was forced upon me. And ever since then, and thanks to obviously my sexual trauma as a child, it was really hard to say no. And it was like it's just very crazy because you don't want to, but you do it because the other person wants to. So you're people pleasing and you're disregarding your needs, your wants, or you feel like you can't, or maybe you feel like you're in danger. Maybe you feel, even if you're not really in danger, the way the brain works, it will tell you you're in danger, or it will tell you that it will make you feel scared if you say no. So work with your nose. If you are not comfortable saying no to people, start small, put it to the side. Like, oh, they just asked me this, I don't want to do that. Okay, take a breath, take a few deep breaths, and then if you don't feel comfortable saying no right off the bat, just like, okay, let me think about it, or hold on, I'm a little busy, can I call you in a little bit, or can I text you, whatever. Push it off, give it a few moments, give it a few hours, give it a couple days if possible, but resist the urge to respond right away. If you know that you're easily swayed or easily influenced or whatever, and if you legitimately don't feel safe to feel like speak up or speak your truth, then you need to get out of the room or excuse yourself. Like, there's nothing more important than your safety, your emotional wellness, and everything. So you matter, and no's are important. So fucking get to practicing those bitches. All right, number 3, read self-help books. Okay, all my life growing up, I was a fantasy fiend, a high fantasy fiend. Uh, Witches, dragons, anything that had to do with magic, fairies, and like a magical world, like that was me to the T. I was obsessed. I've read so many fucking books. I was always on top of the reading. I used to get points for taking quizzes on books and stuff like that, and any all grades pretty much. I was one of the leaders as far as how many points I got for reading, and I pride myself on that. But all those we're all fiction, we're all fantasy, mostly the high fantasy that I'm talking about. And I wish I could tell myself, because we never had money for therapy. It wasn't even a conversation. Nothing like that, right? So even if now, like, maybe you can't afford therapy, or maybe you're not ready, or you just, I don't know, whatever the case may be, like, start with a self-help book, start with a skinny book, anything that calls to you. I feel like when we try, like, you will find 100%. Because anytime I've gone to the library, anytime I've gone to a bookstore, even looked online or whatever, and I browse and I look and I'm like, okay, what looks interesting? What title? What little description? Something always calls out to me, and I end up loving the book. Any book that I've bought, I have loved. And So I guarantee you, if you just take the little bit of time, go to the library if you're not wanting to buy one because you're not ready to commit, whatever, take the time to read something. Yeah, if back then, as much as I read, and if I would have picked up a nonfiction, like kind of self-help book, it would have started my motherfucking journey. It made me think because I love to learn. So that would have been a beautiful way for me to experience something out of the norm and understand that the power lied in me and that there were other ways of doing things and trauma and family systems and all this stuff, right? Because I'm telling you, I read a shit ton. So that's one thing I wish I could just go back and plop a little book into little Crystal's hands, and it would have been wildfire. But that's neither here nor there. There's a reason why I went through my journey the way I did. But I would suggest an easy book that will, like, it's fantasy, but the message is so beautiful, and it talks about like having your purpose and stuff like that. So I feel like it's a really easy introduction to the self-help category. It's definitely not a self-help book, but it makes you think like, whoa, like maybe there's more to life. There's more to life than me just like waking up and going through the motions and doing it again the same day, and then just scrolling on my phone, and then going to work, and then coming home, and then if you're a parent, just feeding the kids, putting them to bed. Like, you know, it's so monotonous and you don't think outside the norm. And then you read this little cute book and you're like, wait a minute. Like, why am I here? What can I do? What is meaningful to me? How can I bring more meaning, more color into my life? And it's important to search for that, and whatever comes of it is beautiful. You know what I mean? It just, I don't know, it's just a beautiful message. So it's called The Alchemist. So if you're a young adult or you're an adult, this is a beautiful introduction to like kind of like get the wheels spinning. And it's an easy read. It doesn't have a lot of complicated words if you don't have like a huge vocabulary. So yeah, that's number 3. Number 4, oh shit, I didn't do a number 5. So number 5, number 4, I would just say that I would do what I love, fuck the rest. And one of those things was going to college. I went to college some years ago, 2017 till 2019 or so. And even before then, I was wanting to go, but always, I don't know why I was scared, but I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know about it, whether it was fear holding me back at first. Later on, it was my also fear, but also like wanting to get validation in another way from certain people that directed my choice of what I went to college for. I'm like, now in retrospect, I'm like, you know what? I would have already had, instead of spending years doing something that I just felt like I had to do to whatever get X result, I would have been in school for performing arts. I would have taken singing lessons, theater lessons and stuff like that. Like, and I would have like been so fucking happy. I would have felt more confident in my craft, where at the time I wasn't necessarily making music. I would have still been practicing my craft and learning all about that. And if you know me, like my brain kind of runs scattered. So like doing it by myself, I feel like it's really hard to organize myself. So that's been a challenge on its own. But I'm like, in retrospect, I'm like, I could have spent a couple years just learning all this stuff and been able to practice it on my own, because I would have had this like playbook to go by. I am a doer, but certain things I like being told what to do. I like a structure. I like a step by step. Like my brain just like savors it on another level. And in particular music, like I need something organized, like whatever goes into it, like the way you breathe, the way you open your mouth, the way you blah blah blah. Or if I gotten to learn an instrument, that would have been great too, you know what I mean? So yeah, that would have been my preference. And I'm like, now I'm like, I'm gonna be 35, and next year I will be applying for school and going for the performing arts, crossing my fingers everything goes well and I'm able to attend starting next year fall. But we'll see how that goes. But definitely gonna happen, just whenever time, money allows. And it's not me pushing it off to the distance, but it's because I'm literally pregnant and I will have a newborn. And I just want to feel out how my connection with my baby is and what her needs are and how our family like work situation works out, right? So it's happening. It's just a matter of when, but definitely in the foreseeable future. But that was 4 things I would have told my younger self. So um, I gotta think of a 5th one. Okay, where we're gonna. You guys are hearing me in real time, and I'm not gonna edit this out. But we're just gonna leave it at 4 things because since this is rolling, I literally cannot think. I'm thinking about this rolling and me thinking, so it takes up my thinking space, if that makes sense. But those are 4 things I would tell my younger self or show my younger self. I hope that at least one of them hit home for you and it resonated with you. If you have kids, maybe this can help them or open a conversation for them to encourage them. Yeah, because that's definitely the goal with me as far as my children, especially the one that's with me the most, my little 9-year-old. I definitely work on instilling beliefs in her, to, and as far as like me honoring her boundaries as a parent, and just because I'm her parent, I don't have a right to speak to her a certain way. I don't have a right to expect, like, I don't know how to explain it, but like expect certain things from her. Or if she doesn't want to be bothered or she doesn't want to be talked to, we've talked about that too. Like, and I just always remind them, like, hey, everybody's different. So just keep that in mind. Maybe you like something, maybe they don't. We gotta respect each other's wishes. How would you feel if this and this and that? So it's important, if you're able to and you have kids, to start them young, because it helps them become much wiser with their decisions and feel safe in themselves, that they can speak up and that it will matter, that it will create an impact, and their decisions have weight in them, and when it comes to other people and with themselves. So those are my 4 things, guys. It is gonna be my 35th birthday, and I don't think I'm doing anything. I'm releasing this on the week of my birthday. So if you want to wish me a happy birthday, go ahead and put it in the comments. And with that being said, I hope you have a beautiful October, beautiful fall season. You'll hear me again within the next couple of weeks. Bye.